So I've made a video talking about my first-hand experiences that led me to know that God is real. I talk about symbolic dreams, out-of-body experiences, a divine voice, flashes of Islamic iconography, and most importantly, shared dreams, proving that there's an astral plane where souls can interact beyond the physical. I'm not trying to sound like that guy, but it seems like I have quite a spiritual resume. But yeah, beyond these encounters, the idea of an ultimate consciousness that governs everything just makes sense to me. I don't believe that death is a true end of existence. Between the infinite nothingness of before birth and the infinite nothingness after death, there lies a tiny speck of existence. And not just any existence, but one so finely tuned and precise that we can comprehend intricate concepts, unlike the billions of other species around us. Scientifically, the odds of being born as human are estimated to be around 1 in 400 trillion, which is almost impossibly rare. This follows the notion that we're cosmic accidents, connected to nothing more. We're not just flesh and bones, we're souls, we're energy. And energy can't be destroyed, it simply transforms. This life is what determines where we go next. It's literally impossible for consciousness to be reduced to nothingness. Our bodies and brains are vessels designed to exercise our souls in this physical realm. I understand that this can't be the case for everyone due to their personal circumstances, but we're still built with that intent. All the evidence points to the brain, specifically the pineal gland and the subconscious mind, as tools to connect us to higher consciousness, which I'll talk about later. If evolution alone is responsible for our intelligence and consciousness, then that means the universe somehow understands how to evolve. But how can something that has no inherent meaning or consciousness develop meaning over time? Meaning has to be embedded into existence from the start. I know people will point out the suffering and chaos in this world, but I personally believe the sense outweighs the senselessness. I think we exist at the lowest gates of heaven and the highest gates of hell, meaning we experience both the divine and the corrupted in this realm. It's only a fitting place for souls to go when tasked with the concept of ascending or descending, a place of neutrality. The thing is, people have such a distorted view on what God really is. The whole man in the sky idea throws so many people off because it reduces something infinite and beyond comprehension into a humanized, almost cartoonish figure. God isn't some bearded figure sitting on a throne in the clouds. He's the ultimate consciousness, the source of all that's pure and good. He's righteousness, love, and the very fabric of existence itself. God is the universe. If you don't believe in God but believe in the universe, you actually do believe in God, you just have a distorted view on him. When I say the universe, I mean the notion that the universe is a sentient being that has flow and cohesion, not the atheist viewpoint where it has no consciousness. But yeah, recognizing the spiritual connection and intricacies of the universe without association of God is certainly interesting. How can such meaning be the natural flow of things, without an ultimate deity residing as the source of this beauty? Imagine I bake you a cake and you admire its perfect layers, the rich frosting, and the way the flavors all blend together. Then you turn to me and say, yeah, I believe in the cake but not the baker. And here I am just staring at this person denying my existence while she's recognizing the intricacies of the cake, as if I'm not the person who literally made the cake. Many people prefer believing the universe over God because the universe feels vast, neutral, unobservable, without the rules of doctrine or religion. It offers a sense of mystery, connection, and cause and effect, without requiring faith in a personal deity. Look, I'll be real, this is still an accurate representation of what God really is, it's just missing the more sentient aspects of him. Think of God as a giant source of light, an all-knowing deity beyond our comprehension. As he illuminates in every conscious being, he reveals ways for us to return to this source of light, through ways we can understand: righteousness, kindness, meditation, prayer, spiritual nourishment, everything that satisfies the soul. The concept of the conscious universe probably aligns more closely with what God actually is, but it lacks fundamental guidance and paths to his divinity, leaving it open to human interpretation. God shouldn't even be described in human terms like he or she, but terms like the Father are the best way we can describe an authoritative, omnipotent being. God is the universe. Let's talk about the subconscious mind and what Jesus meant when he said the temple of God resides in us. He was referring to God's consciousness. God's consciousness illuminates in every single living being, and we have the ability to elevate our consciousness towards him. That's who Jesus Christ was, not God himself, but someone who was able to raise his consciousness to a level close to God's. That's why he was able to perform miracles and preach divine truth. That's why he said, I and the Father are one. Dreams are one of the clearest ways we can experience this connection. Islam teaches that there are 3 types of dreams: one from God, one from your subconscious, and one from the enemy. But they're not purely one or another. I think it's more like a spectrum. A dream might be 33% from God and 66% from your subconscious iconography, or 90% you and 10% influenced by the enemy. These streams come from different states of mind, but can still hold elements of truth. Our entire mind, our subconscious, it's a temple, and God is residing at the top. Our minds are designed to be temples for God's consciousness. Living a life rooted in righteousness, kindness, and discipline strengthens our connection with Him. All positive emotions, love, happiness, gratitude, they all originate from Him. Because He's not just a being, but He's a state of consciousness. That's why having full faith in God isn't just a coping mechanism like some believe. It's a shift in consciousness, a way of aligning yourself with divine truth, rather than being lost in chaos. God is at the peak of this truth, and when you live a life seeking Him, straying away from worldly distractions and keeping your mind clear, you're able to interpret such divinity. I've already talked about how dreams take us to a tangible place, the astral plane. This was confirmed to me when I had a shared dream with my friend. Even dreams filled with subconscious imagery still contain divine elements. Just the other day, as I was writing about this, I had a dream where I was indulging in delusional fantasies. Out of nowhere, an entity with no clear identity grabbed me and pulled me out of the dream. Suddenly, I was in complete darkness with intense pressure on my head, like my mind was exploding. I was stuck in that state for about 10 seconds before snapping out of it and waking up. Just today, as I went on my 5 p.m. nap, I felt that same intense pressure, then I saw a light. I focused on this light and I felt my third eye literally open. The third eye is how we view spiritual realms and hidden truths. I couldn't maintain mine for long, but I saw a lot of black and white patterns, and a figure. These encounters leave a physical effect on me. In my video about finding God through the astral plane, I talk about the divine voice I hear. Whenever I hear this voice, I feel an extreme pressure, like my life is losing its essence. These have been the most explicit messages I've personally received. The fact they have physical effects on me says everything. What's interesting is that when I receive these messages and gain control over my dreams, it's when I nap during the day, specifically between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m, and it's also when I got my shared dream. These similarities suggest that our brains are biologically designed to interface with higher realms, an intentional design for spiritual connection. There's so much information out there that proves the existence of God, or at least higher consciousness, so please just look into it. I guess since I've personally had these experiences, it might be a bit more easier for me to understand. But like, come on bro, it's so obvious. We wouldn't be made with such intent for nothing more. Throw away your tainted perception of God and view Him as a state of mind that we all have access to. A consciousness. If not God, just like get into spirituality or something. Like there's so much more to this reality, this realm. Okay, bye guys. I hope all of my 16 subscribers enjoyed the video.